Welcome to the Friendly Podcast Guide, sorting through podcasts so you don't have to. I'm Andy Smiley, and I want to help you discover the right podcast without having to listen to an entire episode. Now, let's talk podcasts. Y'all, I apologize ahead of time, but I couldn't edit this interview down to 10 minutes. It's closer to 12 minutes. There was just too much goodness in there from Uzma and Zeba, the hosts of the Momming While Muslim podcast. Before we get to hear the three of us laugh about the craziness of motherhood, here are some details about the show. The show description is, Mommying While Muslim is a one-of-a-kind podcast where two American-born and bred Muslim moms share their experiences to raise second-generation kids. Having experienced both pre- and post-9/11 America, they're acutely aware of the unique challenges their families face on top of the regular messes that all moms share. The length of each episode is about 45 minutes to an hour long, and it is kid ear friendly. The series is ongoing with new episodes available on Thursdays. Before we learn more about the vibe of the show, we're going to take a quick break to talk about the Friendly Podcast Guide on TikTok. Friends, I have joined TikTok and it has actually been super fun. Please join me over there for podcast recommendations, commentary on being a mom, and silly videos that my kids at least think are funny. Just search Friendly Podcast Guide and follow me for all things podcast and mom life. Now we get to hear from Zeba and Uzma as we talk about the communities we need as moms. Today we have Uzma and Zeba on the podcast from Mommying While Muslim, and holy cow, I am so excited to talk to these ladies.
We are excited to be here. We feel the good energy, lady. Feel the good energy.
This is Uzma. I am also excited. Thank you so much for having us.
Yay. Okay. First of all, do you both want to introduce yourselves to my audience?
I always say I'm a mama first, mama of four. My name is Zeba Hassan. I am in the DC metropolitan area. I am the co-host of Momming While Muslim podcast, but I always say I'm a mom first. I'll probably be a mom last. And that is the defining, that's literally my defining and most proud achievement of my life.
I love that. My name is Uzma Jaffrey. I co-host Momming While Muslim as well. But, like Zeba, my primary profession is being a mom. And then on the side, we do all the wonderful things like hustle and, I guess it's not really hustling. Podcasting is a very all-consuming full-time job. So yes, we do that. But I'm also a practicing physician. I run my own practice. But again, the primary job is chauffeuring and refereeing for children.
Chaos coordinator is the other thing.
Yes. I feel like I need a t-shirt that says chaos coordinator.
Yeah. I should do that.
I have a hat that says chaos coordinator because I'm always trying to hide my crazy hair.
I might need that. I'm going to go looking for that. So can you two tell me, or whoever wants to take it, why did you two decide to start your podcast?
Honestly, we felt that there was a void in the marketplace. To be honest with you, there's nobody that's really addressing the concerns that we have as American Muslim mothers for our unique challenges that we face as mothers and our children have to face as native-born American Muslim children.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're filling this need because truly, for me at least, as a mom, podcasting is such an easy way to consume information. Mm-hmm. And when there is that need and you can fill it in a way that's easy to consume, it's a perfect marriage of two things.
Exactly. It's selfish. We're trying to find the answers for ourselves.
Yeah.
And in finding answers for ourselves, we're hoping that we help other people. That's pretty much why we
may as well do it publicly.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. And what do you want people to get out of your podcast?
We want them to feel like that solidarity. Motherhood can often be really, really lonely, especially in the beginning for all of us. And I don't care if you have your community or you don't, you still feel like you're in the eye of the storm and nobody gets it. And that you're the first person that's experiencing this and doing this. And we really want them to know that, no, you have an entire sisterhood right here. You have a library of episodes you can tap into. And at some point, if you've thought it, we've already recorded it. Or if you felt it, we've already recorded it. Or if you need it, we will record it.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. What would you two consider the vibe of your show?
It depends on the day.
Okay.
And we're really honest about that because our topics and our episodes run the gamut of like literally potty training to politics. Because guess what? There are people and needs, and they're like, how the heck do the day-to-day techniques, the physical techniques of sleep training and potty training? Of course, we're there. We've got your back where that's concerned. But then there are political things that happen, and they have long-term impacts, and we're there to kind of help talk it out and unravel that. Sometimes we're crying, sometimes we're laughing, sometimes we're in a bad mood, and we're processing that on the air with each other. And that's all we can do is be our authentic, truthful selves. And some days we're in a good mood, and some days we're not, and some days we're crying, and some days we're laughing.
It sounds like as a podcast listener, you get to sit down and just kind of take a peek on a conversation between two friends.
It's our kitchen table. So
yeah, it's our kitchen table. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of always what we wanted. Like, whatever it is, pull up. We don't have the answer. We bring in an expert in her field. We want to bring her on, and you kind of get a glimpse into, we're having a cup of tea or water, or we're fasting, and I'm grumpy usually during that time, and we're talking and you're just kind of getting an insight. And if we don't have the answers, we're providing you the resources for you to dig deep, a little bit deeper. Cause of course they're shorter episodes, they're 40-minute episodes. So we're not going to go through everything, but we're going to give you the resources so you can kind of come up with your own answers.
I love that. Fabulous. Okay. So I know this is going to be hard, but I would love to hear both of your favorite episodes, or a couple, because choosing one is just too hard.
So I think my favorite episode really, I think, is our Hassan versus Joffrey, Roe versus Wade, because I think, and this was this even before we recorded a couple of years ago on that one. And I don't remember what was happening at the time, but it certainly wasn't as critical as the Supreme Court opinion that just came out this year. But threatening women's reproductive rights and women's rights, that's really big for both of us. And what I love about that episode is that at the beginning of our podcasting journey, Zeba was very vehemently like, I'm not a feminist. No. That's like the worst F word, right? And then as we start recording, she's like, oh yeah, wait, I think I am. Well, even though she falls on the opposite political spectrum on this particular issue. But it's like when we talk about, pro-life and pro-choice are such misnomers anyway, because who the hell is against life? Everybody's pro-life. And that's like saying
I hate that title.
It's like saying all lives matter. Duh.
Right. I hate that.
But some, you just need some slogans. And in this case, like the opposite end, like chose this particular pro-life choice. And, when at the end of the day, we both are on the same wavelength, all life does matter to us, but like she would do something very different and I would do something very different. What I love about it is I think it's very different than what the audience expects.
Yes. Yeah. Because we definitely break stereotypes. And that's what I love, because people will look at us. Obviously she's a hijabi, so they think that she would have a particular viewpoint. And I'm not a hijabi. That's the physical hair cover. And my viewpoint is very different on that as hers is, but I'm conservative on a lot of issues. I'm probably more conservative on a lot of issues than Uzma is herself. Like I don't curse, like I'm just not one of these people. I'm very conservative. And it's funny because people would think totally the opposite, but I love that. I love that we're just by the nature of the two of us being who we are authentically, we're breaking the molds even within our own community, let alone in our external community, which we're a part of, which is the American community that's non-Muslim. We have a half and half audience of Muslim and non-Muslim people. So my favorite episode, and I know this will probably be a surprise to Uzma, is our first episode. It's awkward.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And all podcasters, if you ask them, they're like, do not listen to the first episode. But really, we were starting our journey, right? And in starting your journey, when you look back, I thought very small. It was very individual. Like it was something for the two, like we're two friends talking out issues so that we can kind of walk through the problem together, different mindsets and what can we do? And let's look this on, and to look back on that and to see how we've grown individually, and that we've kind of, through our personal journeys and our evolution of self, we're bringing our audience along for the ride with us. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing. And you can only get that if you were able to see the before. Right. And you can't do that if you erase that, because who you were is part of that. So that's why I feel like that's probably one of my favorite episodes.
It's fabulous.
And it's probably the only one I've actually
listened to. She hates the sound of her voice as a podcaster.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. It sounds like you two have a very good partnership, and yes, what the other person's good at and what you're not good at.
Exactly.
Balance each other out. That's fabulous.
Absolutely.
Because most of my listeners are moms, I always like to ask, is your podcast okay for little ears?
I think it goes back to, it depends on the series that we're doing at the time.
Okay.
And we usually say it ahead of time, recognizing that people that we do have younger listeners will say, this is probably a better, this is up to the parent to decide whether this is good enough for the parent to listen to. Like, it's up to the parent, really.
Sure. Well, and truly what I've learned, at least as a mom of littles, is like, I can usually read the title and be like, it's probably not a good one. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to mention or add that we haven't touched on yet?
I would say, just because we're momming while Muslim, like for moms, like you said, you are a mom podcast as well. The universal truth is that being a mom and momhood transcends religion and time. Of course, a lot of our podcasting talks about our specific journey as Muslim moms, but we feel the same things and go through the same challenges as any moms. And so my hopes is, if a non-Muslim mother listens to it, they can understand or perhaps sympathize with us on some level, to be like, oh, okay, they're the same. They want the same things for their children that we do. And that's kind of another thing that I would like your audience to understand, is that we're not scary. We're here to answer whatever question that, if you're sitting next to me at baseball and you're inquisitive about something, don't feel like you're going to offend me by asking. I'm here to answer to the best of my ability.
I absolutely love that. And I completely agree. I feel like moms are moms. We all might have different beliefs, but that doesn't mean that we don't love our kids any less than another mom.
Or each other's kids.
Or each other's kids. Exactly.
Your kids are our responsibility too.
Exactly.
I completely agree. Well, and I feel like when we think that way and when we have that community, I feel like everyone is benefited, right? We all are lifted. And that is such a beautiful thing. And where can people find you?
On Instagram, we're at Momming While Muslim Podcast. I think on TikTok, we're at Momming While Muslim Pod, but we don't do very much on there right now because we're trying to figure it the hell out. So my son also said we're very cringe.
Stop it with the Instagram.
But for our generation, I think Facebook is great. So we're on Momming While Muslim. The Facebook page itself is pretty just kind of informative. But if you join our group, you do not need to ascribe to any particular group or religion to be in our group. We have all kinds of women in there. Yeah. So it's really a nice place. Safe space.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. I will make sure to link all of that as well as you guys' favorite episodes in the show notes so people can jump straight there. Definitely. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited that I got to talk to you both. This is so fun.
Yeah, this absolutely was.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to hear about more podcasts from me, please follow or subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Also, follow me over on TikTok for more FPG goodness. Talk to you soon.
And I've loved staring at the kiss behind you because that's my kid's favorite piece of art right there.
It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, kids like the idea of people kissing. And they're like, well, that just reminds us of you and dad. Oh, so sweet. Even though when we actually do it, they're like, that's so gross. Cut it out.
TMI. I'm like, how do you think you got here?
Always. I know. Seriously.